today is a significant day. The Kangaroos are Four Nations champions leading into a World Cup. In such a significant year for the game, internationally, Friday week's Test match carries all the more relevance. Knowing also this will be Cameron Smith's 50th Test match will place the Test in a very special category, along with placing the Kangaroos captain in revered territory. This will also be Cameron's 27th match as captain. So in the 2017 Anzac Test, Cameron Smith will become just the second player to play 50 Test matches for Australia behind Darren Lockyer on 59. He will also join Clive Churchill as Australia's second most capped captain. With these wonderful milestones in mind, it gives me great pleasure to announce the Australian squad for the Anzac Test at Canberra's GIO Stadium on Friday, May 5th. At fullback from the Brisbane Broncos, Darius Boyd. On the wing from Sydney Roosters, Blake Ferguson. At centre from St George Illawarra Dragons, Josh Dugan. The other centre from the Melbourne Storm, Will Chambers, and a new inclusion in the squad. And on the other wing from Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, Valentine Holmes. At 5'8" from North Queensland Cowboys, Jonathan Thurston. At halfback from the Melbourne Storm, Cooper Cronk. In the front row from West Tigers, Aaron Woods. At hooker from Melbourne Storm and captain, of course, Cameron Smith. The other front rower from the Bulldogs, David Clemmer. In the second row from Sydney Roosters, Boyd Cordner. And from Brisbane Broncos, Matt Gillette. At lock from the Penrith Panthers, Trent Merrin. And the interchange bench is as follows. From North Queensland Cowboys, Michael Morgan. From Canberra Raiders, Josh Papali. From St George Illawarra, Tyson Frizzell. And from Brisbane Broncos, Sam Thaiday. The selectors have also chosen 18th man from the Canberra Raiders, Shannon Boyd. And 19th man from Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, James Maloney. And the 20th man from North Queensland Cowboys, Justin O'Neill. Thank you, and we'll open up to any questions.
Are you confident in relation to Jonathan will be okay?
We're confident. Obviously he trained well yesterday, so I think just waiting on a word from the club. They're training to go the captain's run tomorrow, and hopefully he'll play tomorrow night. But he's close to obviously playing, and then obviously we picked him, and that's the reason we're very confident he'll play, in the Test match. No, he doesn't have to play the game on the weekend. He's a pretty experienced player. Knowing Johnny will want to play in the Test match if fully fit. He'll come into camp and, through our protocols, he'll go through a medical, and we'll make some decisions on him on the Sunday. But it's one of the reasons why James Maloney's, considered 19th man as well, so just in case.
We know you're big on loyalty and big incumbent players, so the only changes in that squad are injury enforced.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. So, I'm being pretty open with, around the selection process for this game in particular, around rewarding and acknowledging, the players and their efforts. Last year in the Four Nations, it's only common sense that because of the short turnaround, we just name players that have been part of the process before. Will Chambers, he's played for Australia. He's played for Queensland on the left side, so we've got no problems about him playing, in a Test match, for Australia.
Now, how close did you go to selecting these ones?
We agonised over it all, but again, we felt that Darius deserves to retain his spot. He was the man of the match in the Four Nations, final at Ellen Road, or not so Ellen Road, at Liverpool. And he's in great form at the moment. So, we just chose to go that way.
Mel, do you see Billy playing for Australia again?
Yeah, I certainly do. He's getting back somewhere near his best form. He's come back from injury extremely well. Very pleased to see him in the game. So this Test match was picked based on our loyalty, their success in the Four Nations, the way they've been playing at the beginning of the year as well. But it doesn't mean to say that we'll be true to this, at the back end of the year when we get through the season, final footy and Origin football. So that will become, part of the criteria when you do pick the World Cup squad at the end of the year.
John touched on that it's Cameron Smith's 50th Test. He'll become only the second player to achieve that milestone. How big of a milestone is that? And I imagine you've got a lot in store in terms of recognising
Yeah, it's a big week for an international game, leading into the World Cup year, as John mentioned, so it's a big game just in terms of international football. The Kiwis will have a fairly good side, obviously Kieran Foran's back playing again, so their spine's going to be, a challenge for us. So, but there's not many players. There's only one other player, Darren Lockyer, that's achieved that milestone in our history since 1908, and will be a significant week for him, and it'll be a special week for him and his family. We'll make sure we treat that with respect and we value his contribution to Australian Rugby League.
Have you got anything planned for him, John? Has the game got anything planned? Anything special in terms of give him something?
Yeah, we have. Mel, you might just elaborate without giving too much away.
We can't get too much away. There is. We've got some big plans for Cameron. We've not only obviously achievement. We've got the milestone jersey already. So when we talk about our milestones and the value of the kangaroo and our chevron, he goes into goal 50+ games. Which is pretty special. Like I said, there's only one other, which is Darren. But we've got some other things planned through the week for him that will treat his contribution to rugby league in high regard.
Well, is it logical to think that you obviously named Maloney on that extended bench? JT can't play as Maloney guy.
That's it. Yeah, exactly right. We've got Shannon Boyd covering if any forward. So happens to maybe get injured this weekend or through the week, and then we've got Justin O'Neill obviously with our outside backs. So that's the reason why we've got the 20-man squad.
Are you going to feel watching the games this week? Nervous or?
Always, yeah. I was a bit nervous last night, to be honest with you, but everyone's come through. Everyone's playing really well. So happy with obviously the team, and looking forward to next week. Yeah, that was they were fantastic. Cometh the moment, cometh the man with Josh and Blake. I thought they were did really well yesterday. The Frizzell and Boyd Cordner contest was absorbing. That was fantastic. What a great Anzac Day game. It was great for our game, and it was a great spectacle, a great crowd, and rugby league. Should be congratulated for such a great day. Remembering our troops in the past and the sacrifices they made.
Now, there's been a bit of talk over a couple of guys in particular in that squad, like Trent Merrin and Michael Bull, and their form. What have you made of that?
When Trent's playing in a team that's struggling at the moment, I still think he's trying hard. He's working really hard for the team. His efforts with the ball and defence is pretty good. Michael. Obviously the Cowboys in general miss John. Hopefully John's back, playing on Friday, and then obviously that helps Michael as well. But their form, I don't think really matters. They come back into an environment where they're comfortable, they're happy, playing with some terrific players, and I think that'll affect him in a positive way.
Mel, given the speculation about Aaron, obviously where he's going to bring their team, this game's come at the right time for him to put all those club issues aside and focus on his country?
Yeah, I'm extremely pleased with the way Aaron has come into the team. His Four Nations form was fantastic, and it's difficult. It's difficult to play each weekend. We've got all these distractions behind the scenes, personal distractions as well as professional distractions. So I'm pretty sure that I remember him talking at our launch about getting back into the Australian side, how much fun he had. So I'd imagine that he'd be looking forward to getting through this week's game first and foremost, and then coming into camp. And he's one of our leaders. We haven't got Matty Scott in this game, so he'll become our front row and one of our leaders in our pack for sure. It's disappointing. But obviously, John is probably in a better position to answer that question from the game's point of view. But I'm a big advocate of representative football, a big advocate certainly of propagating the game in the bush as well. That's important. It's a little bit disappointing, from my perspective.
Yeah, maybe if I just add to that, Mal said it in one. I think it's disappointing, not only for the fans but also for the players. This fixture started in 1911, so it's got 106 years of history to it. It's the last game for very good reasons, which I'm happy to elaborate on, but it's disappointing for everyone that the best players aren't available to be selected. However, at the end of the day, that's the Bulldogs' decision, and they just need to explain it to their fans, to their players, and I guess to the New South Wales Rugby League. Wanting to have the best players available for the last fixture of its type in 106 years. And I think you'll find that that's where it'll land.
John, do you have any concerns that could flow over to other matches in the international weekend or the rep weekend?
Not really, not necessarily, no. I think the Bulldogs, understandably, have got what they would deem a player welfare issue, and we're very respectful of that, and they've made their call. They're the only club in that position as far as I'm aware. So I think we just move on. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, we have a set of rules, but unfortunately they don't translate very well to enforcing player selection in this particular case. Again, happy to for Peter Grimshaw to elaborate on that in more detail, but suffice to say there's not rules that we've got that we can bring to bear that actually force players to play, and we're not about to do that. At the end of the day, the clubs are responsible for the players' welfare, and they also need to take into account all the other stuff that's in play at the time, and that's what they're doing, and that's what the Bulldogs have done. CBA, yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean player contracts, yeah. Oh, well, Todd's on record as saying that we'll look at a trade window at the end of the year. We're not going to move quickly on things, as everyone's been aware for 5.5 years. There's two schools of thought on this. One school of thought is that this is a bad look for the game. The other school of thought is it's great theatre. So I'm not about to get in the middle of that. I think we'll look at a trade window because it's the right thing to do, and we'll see where that lands us.
Well, I would imagine that David will be picking the Warrior spine. So, I mean, from a cohesion, combinations, short preparation point of view, that makes them extremely dangerous. We all know what a great player Kieran is, and taking pressure off Isaac Luke and Sean Johnson, Roger back, obviously. So that combination's obviously something we have to prepare really well for, given the short preparation.
This will be your first time as Kangaroos coach down in Canberra for the international test. Must be a special trip for you.
No, it's excellent. In-laws are down there, so I've got plenty of tickets to get ready for them. So yeah, I mean it's great. I mean Canberra's sort of second home for me. I love the place. It's great that a test match is being played down there. Possibly the last test match, mid-year. I'm assuming. So it is the last test match. So to play at Canberra is fairly significant, and we don't want to disappoint our crowd. So hopefully, all the fans get out there. All those Raiders fans gets out there, and whatever clap they want to do, I'm pretty happy as long as they're clapping us. So it's special. It's special from a personal point of view, but being the last mid-season test match is also special as well to be part of it. Yeah, well, Josh, I think he deserves to be in the test team. He played in Newcastle last year, and he's in our squad for the Four Nations as well. But unfortunately, got injured. So, but his form, you can't deny, his spot in the test team.
You've done a lot of stuff on the culture of this side, and escalated this to where it needs to be. You've been doing some stuff in the background on pillars. Have you finished that? Is that where
Well, we're still rising, trying to work behind the scenes to get it right. This week is really important around our values and how the Kangaroos are perceived. We sort of obviously want to use the Kangaroos as an inspirational piece, for rugby league followers and all kids, play our game. So it's an important week for the Kangaroos and international rugby league. And that's what I said initially, was that we're on a bit of a journey upwards, hopefully, and getting the Kangaroos back up to that pedestal where they belong in international rugby league, and certainly within the rugby league circles here in Australia, where winning the premiership and playing interstate game are really important, but there's no greater personal milestone than playing for your country.
Just to add to that, Brent, I think the impact internationally is quite significant as well. You know, the Kangaroos rise, and what we've seen is we've seen all the other nations rise. You know, and you've seen the four nations and the various the last World Cup, and you've seen the performance of the sort of non-big nations, and it's just lifting all the time. So there are 50 nations now registered with the International Federation as rugby league nations. We've got the World Cup this year, which is fantastic here in Australia and New Zealand and PNG. And we've then got, subsequent to that, you know, there'll be other announcements about the ongoing schedule. So for international rugby league, the Kangaroos being strong is very important because we're seen to be, the rugby league in Australia and the Southern Hemisphere, if you like, is seen to be the leader in the world, and we've got to act like leaders. So part of that is to make sure that the Kangaroos are positioned and are the leadership group in this game.
Now, do you have an opinion on Chris McQueen being selected for England? He obviously coached in the Queensland team along with Dean Teo, who's in the Lions Rugby Union team.
My opinion on Chris and Heintin as well. I guess, you know, Wayne's picked him for a reason. Obviously, he sees that the depth of English rugby league is not quite where it should be, and he believes those two players is going to enhance his chances of winning, you know, England winning the World Cup. So, you know, if that's the case, well, you know, I've got no problems with, you know, Chris, you know, playing for England if, you know, he chooses. So, which he has. So, yeah, I mean, whether there's an argument obviously for and against, you know, whether he's, you know, not providing an opportunity for a young English player, you know, to play, you know, for England, you know, it's all subjective, isn't it?
You've coached Chris, what do you think you'll bring to their team?
Oh, certain experience. He has never let the Queensland team down. You know, when he's been picked in the footy team, his all-round ability. You know, he can play a number of positions, back row, centre. You know, so he gives a bit of versatility. And because of those reasons, you know, he'll be a great asset, you know, to the English side.
Any more questions? Just on selection, was it a case, did it ever cross your mind to blood a few more new talent, given it's a World Cup year? Or
No, we blooded enough new talent last year, to be honest with you, and they were highly successful, you know, and did the right thing by the team and by the game as well. You know, we all talk about, you know, great people make great players, and that's what I think, you know, the players showed last night. They want to be part of the Kangaroos, and the way they carried themselves both on and off the field, you know, warrants, you know, to be acknowledged for that. So that's why we picked the team, you know. So and whilst they keep on performing for their country and keep on doing the right things by the game, they'll continually be picked.